When the Cleveland Browns took Baker Mayfield #1 overall in the 2018 NFL Draft, he gave Cleveland fans a reason to hope that this might be the quarterback to finally take the Browns back to the playoffs. 3 seasons later, he's on his 4th head coach and has had stretches of play that look like he deserved that #1 selection, but he's also paired that with times where you wonder if he's just another guy in the long line of failed Browns quarterbacks. On play action, Baker's completion percentage jumped up 5% versus normal dropbacks. He had a positive touchdown to interception ratio, and his passer rating was a whole 24.7 points higher. Despite Baker's success on play action, Freddie Kitchens only called it 23.4% of the time. When he throws in rhythm in the short game and on RPOs, he has a 67.2% completion percentage. He has good mechanics, he can fit balls in small windows, and shows really good decisiveness. When he's not throwing in rhythm though, it doesn't look great. His mechanics and footwork go out the window, he has trouble with getting consistent hip rotation, and he can panic in the pocket and quickly pulls his eyes from looking downfield. When plays are 2.5 seconds or more, his completion percentage drops all the way to 50.7%. His pure arm talent is great, but his fundamentals are desperately lacking. The scheme and receivers did him no favors either. Despite having maybe one of the best skill groups on paper with Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., David Njoku, and Nick Chubb, the Browns ranked only 20th in separation gained on routes. Guys were rarely schemed open, and there was a distinct lack of play calls that let Baker do what he does best: roll out on play action or run RPO concepts in the quick pass game. Concepts the Browns only ran a combined 34% of the time in 2019. Without those concepts, the Browns struggled to get separation downfield, and Baker experienced a sophomore slump. We'll touch on it more later, but with a more experienced offensive mind and play caller in Stefanski, Baker should be primed for a bounce-back year. The Browns have the skilled players to attack horizontally and still be an explosive and effective offense. Baker did a ton of damage with RPOs at Oklahoma and is just as much at home doing it in the NFL as he was in college. They give simple and quick reads for Baker and help him align his feet and base to give him good mechanics. Most RPOs read the outside linebacker or the apex defender. If that apex defender comes in to fit into the run game, the ball goes outside of the pass concept. If the defender stays outside to guard the pass, then Baker will hand the ball off. The mesh with the running back also has the added benefit of helping Baker align his feet to the throw. He consistently brings his hips all the way through, has a quick release, a solid base just outside of his shoulders, and delivers accurate balls. When you simplify reads for Baker Mayfield, it's like night and day with his accuracy. Here, all he has to do is locate the strong safety, who should be passing the dig off to the middle linebacker. When he sees that the safety isn't passing it off and has vacated his deep zone, he throws the post right behind him for a touchdown. While heel clicks are a constant issue, you can see the accuracy downfield here as Baker comes out of the run fake, hitches, and delivers a perfect ball downfield. He can also read the leverage defenders really quickly and deliver decisive balls to really small windows, like here on a back shoulder off of play action. Whether it's an intermediate throw, a deep shot, or a touch pass, his mechanics are way better on play action in these half-field reads. He's aware of defenders' zones and responsibilities and can fit the ball into weak areas of the defense. He excels throwing off of his last step of his drop or off of one hitch, and you can just look at his footwork here and see how consistent and clean it is. You can see he has a solid base, his feet are apart, he's following through on all his throws, and that leads to more consistent and accurate passing. Where he struggles though is when things get off schedule or his first read or two are taken away. He can get frazzled in the pocket, bring his eyes down and look to run, and struggles a lot with consistent mechanics. A lot of the time he lacks trust in the protection and quickly tries to bail at any sign of pressure. This causes him to lock onto one receiver or abandon passing altogether. This poor pocket movement ends up getting him into more trouble, and as a result, he misses potential huge gains down the field on busted coverages. Outside of those pocket issues, my biggest concerns are his heel click and his hips. It's a huge issue of opening his leg and his hips horizontally rather than leading with his off leg towards the receiver. When he opens his hips parallel to the line of scrimmage like this, he loses all consistency throwing the ball. It's hard to get consistent hip rotation and accuracy out of this throwing position, and it forces him to rely purely on arm strength and talent rather than sound and consistent fundamentals at his base. He also had a big issue with heel click or his feet coming together on his hitch steps. When the feet come together as a quarterback, you get some vertical bounce up and down, which is one more thing for your arm to compensate for and makes you a less consistent thrower of the ball over time. In both these clips, he has huge heel click and then just sky mails the balls way over the receiver's head. The mechanical issues can all easily be fixed with Stefanski coming in, who helped Case Keenum look like a viable starting quarterback and has helped Kirk Cousins rack up the stats and yards. More concerning for me is Baker's lack of understanding of defender location combined with those poor mechanics. Earlier we saw that he's definitely capable of reading zones, but a few times he completely left his receivers out to dry. He got them hurt by throwing them into a defender, being inaccurate with his ball placement, and setting them up for big collisions. Baker isn't as polished as you might hope for a number 1 overall pick going into his 3rd year, but there's reasons for optimism with Stefanski's system coming to Cleveland. While the Vikings didn't blow the Browns out of the water with how much more play action they ran, they did run play action 4% more. The Vikings also ran a lot more under center action, and while Baker didn't get a ton of that in Cleveland last year, he had a 104.3 quarterback rating when they did. Some of the stuff that Baker does best, the Vikings did a ton of last year. They attacked the seams with their tight ends and slot receivers, created a lot of rhythm passes, schemed guys open, and ran efficient play action and stressed defenses vertically and horizontally. Baker thrives when he's on rhythm and can drive the ball, which is the type of throw asked for in Stefanski's system a lot. The play action game is also going to help Nick Chubb out, as it freezes defenders and opens up lanes in the run game. Slants and sit routes are a staple of the Stefanski offense and are something the Browns just didn't do enough of, especially with the weapons they have that could take a short pass to the house. These give Baker those clear, simple reads that he can read and hit at the top of his drop. Stefanski also likes to take shots and rhythm outside and stretch the field vertically when they get a matchup that they like. And those top of drop deep throws are when Baker is the most accurate also. Baker Mayfield definitely has some things to work on with his footwork and lower body mechanics, but he clearly has the ability to play at an elite level when those things are clean. The lack of field awareness and keeping his receivers clean gives some concern, and he had trouble with adjusting beyond his first or second read. But with Kevin Stefanski coming to Cleveland and bringing a system that emphasizes throwing in rhythm, play action shots, and quick reads, Baker's skill set should be reaching its full potential. As he becomes more familiar, the whole offense should open up. There are just too many weapons in the backfield, outside, and at tight end for defenses to be able to shut everything down. If Baker can operate within the system, clean up some of those mechanical issues, the Browns can absolutely give the Ravens all they can handle on offense and could finally get what looks like a top 10 roster to perform on the field and steal away the AFC North. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe. It helps us out tremendously. Comment below who you'd like me to analyze next, and make sure to check out our website, weeklyspiral.com, where you can read all our latest content, including a written form of this video with GIFs. You can also find our Patreon and social handles and all that stuff there as well. Until next time, I'm Casey Sully, and I'll see you on the next film breakdown.